these very important partnerships. I want to leave that question with you, but my role here will be to appeal to all the other partners that we should be looking at this only as a starting point, and we should be working to strengthen the collaboration so that together we can do a lot more in this field, but also in other areas as well. Number two, on the way forward, the way I would possibly want to see it is that we need to be using the findings from what you have done up to this point to engage policymakers, to engage the civil society, to engage colleagues in the private sector under a framework which I might call the policy labs. The idea here is that maybe once in a quarter or at any other time frequency that we might agree on, we come together as the academia, as the policymakers, as the private sector, as civil society, and take off, say, 6 hours or a day, debating emerging policy issues, debating topical policy issues emerging from these studies. We can come up with policy propositions from such discussions, but where we cannot readily come up with policy propositions, we should use these labs as grounds for nurturing topics for further study with a view of informing further policy discussions. So again, that is one additional thing that I think we need to be taking on board. Number three is integration of our students into these activities. Dr. Mshomi and your team, you know, we want to create multiplier effects here, if we are to use that language. And I think that one interesting way in take up, who can take on follow-up activities that can drive, that can continue to drive the research agenda in this field, and that can continue to inform the policy debates. As the College of Business and Management Sciences, we commit our continued support, and I want to commit that out of our small research grants program that we'll all be quite familiar with, we should be able to take up funding to further studies in some of these areas. So once again, congratulations and thank you so much. And I wish all of you a nice evening. And I don't know whether we are closing at this stage or whether there is some other discussion. I hope there is. Thank you. There is some. Oh, Professor Ichire is. Oh, yeah, thank you so much. So my colleague, I think I will do the correct thing. I will first hand over to the MC, and then they will guide us on, on the next steps. Thank you so much. I would really appreciate this.
Thank you so much, Professor Hisali, the principal of the College of Business and Management Sciences, for your remarks. I would want to say maybe it would be nice, I think, to invite Prof, to close. Thank you.
Okay, so I think I will just do exactly that. I now take this honor and pleasure to invite my colleague, Professor Hichire. Professor Hichire is the principal of the College of Humanities and Social Sciences here at Makerere. And Prof, we appreciate your presence here. It speaks to the direction that we want to take as a university, which is the one of interdisciplinary research and also strengthening collaboration amongst and between the units, the different units at this university. So we are very glad to have you. We thank you that you have committed time to this event. And at this juncture, I want to invite you to speak to us as we close. Thank you so much.
We're not sanitizing. It's obvious. Thank you, our dear host, Professor Hisali. Just to mention that Professor Hisali is a great friend of CHUS, so we are really at home when we are in these spaces. Our keynote lecturer, Professor Sheikh Mbo, the mentor at the University of Pretoria, Dr. Corey Weirenga, our Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs, who opened this workshop, Professor Umar Kakumba, the principals, but especially our principal COBAMS, Professor Hisali Elia, all staff, all participants, ladies and gentlemen. When I saw this title, History Meets Demography, Resource Contestations, Mobility, Citizenship, and Conflict in Uganda's Albertine region and beyond, I was excited. One, because it speaks to what Professor Hisali has just talked about, multidisciplinarity, a multidisciplinary approach to knowledge production, and so on. And for me, also seeing our students, graduate PhD students from history, speaking with our colleagues from statistics, demography, is a very fulfilling moment. So in this case, I would like to thank the initiators of this collaboration. I think the main chief mover has been mentioned as Dr. Mushomi John. Thank you very much. This is the way to go. This is how the university increases relevance, because you bring perspectives to enrich the understanding of what is at stake in terms of our development challenges, in terms of understanding our society. Very exciting that we are recentering history as a key perspective in whatever we do as a university. We know that in the past decades, history had been relegated as that thing of study of the past, but actually history is not just a study of the past, it's the understanding of the totality of humanity for you to be able to actually craft a way forward. So I'm delighted as principal of CHUS to see this collaboration between us as Makerere University with the University of Pretoria, but also internally for us to be organizing spaces where we can speak, we can engage as intellectuals, and we can also engage to inform our policy. So resource conflicts and contestations are very, very key and at the heart of human existence. The issues about citizenship that some of our students are talking about, issues about tribe and nation are very important. And this kind of space is really commendable because you're trying to provide answers to the questions of the times. I see one of the highlights about, generally Africa as a continent, in terms of how it is addressing some of the resource conflicts on the continent. It's very important to actually generate knowledge that is relevant for us as Africans, for us as intellectuals on the African continent, to provide leadership for the continent to actually thrive. And I would like to say that as we come together, we are able to sharpen our insights on these pertinent continental and global issues. And it's very, very commendable to see the number of topics that our students are engaged with, from governance and security, the issues about civil-military relations, indigenous knowledge, challenges of internally displaced peoples, issues around land, water, oil, resource mobilization, community mobilization. All these are actually very key questions of the time. And I can't wait to see the outcomes as you complete these studies and those who are also planning to publish. We know that Makerere will be celebrating 100 years next year, 2022. So from 1922 up to next year, that's a cool century. And within this century, it's important that we actually up our game in terms of being a research-led university. This is exactly what a research-led will be. Not for us sitting in silos. If I'm doing something, then Hisali should not know about it, but actually being able to share across colleges and across disciplines. I see our own Nicholas Tunanuche, who has also been at the center with Dr. Mshomi. That is very commendable. Dr. Mshomi, thank you for mentoring, because these are going to be our next generation of research leaders, of academic leaders. I hope that Tunanuche, you are completing your PhD thesis. Let me also now become an administrator to see whether you have a good progress report. So such synergies, we say, are helping us to sort of increase our relevance as a university, and also living up to the strategic objective or strategic direction of the university. as a research-led. A research-led university is that where people engage intellectually, not just about which money has gone where, but which knowledge is being produced where, how can we benefit, how can we work together. All these collaborations, they are very fulfilling, and they also improve the academic environment of the university as well for staff as well as students. Let me thank the Dean, School of Statistics and Planning, the Head of Department, Population Studies, for enabling these collaborations and for facilitating this workshop. It is an honor to work with you, and for us as CHUS, we pledge that we will continue to support such collaborations, and we will support in whatever way we are able to do, so that we can have learnings across disciplines. For all the participants, both present physically and online, thank you very much for an enriching conversation. This title was trending on Twitter, I can tell you, and somehow all these historians across the globe were liking and retweeting. I'm not saying I'm part of those key historians, but I saw them. So thank you very much, the organizers. Thank you, all those who have participated, and thank you for those who took time to make these presentations. The topics are really great. I wish I didn't have another meeting. I would have attended the whole of it. So with these very few remarks, I would like to, am I the one to close? No, we are closing together with the host. Sorry. I'm not used to closing where the host is around. Okay, so the two principals, CHUS and COBAMS, are happy to declare this workshop entitled History Meets Demography. And given that it's around Africa's Early Career Research Leader Fellowship, we really thank you and congratulate you for this initiative. We therefore declare this conversation partially closed, because we are saying there are so many things that need to keep open, right? Dr. John Mushomi, partially closed. Publication must continue, collaboration must continue, reading must continue, not just reading WhatsApp, reading. So we are very happy to close this conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I would want to request us just to stand up and have the anthems, and then we'll be ready to go for our cocktail, which is being served. We use this corridor and then get to the open space. So over to you. Thank you.
Oh, you God, make God upon thee. We lay our future in thy hands. United, free for liberty, together we'll always Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Thank you very much. You can have your seat. And I would want to invite Nicholas to come and give us clear directions on how we're going to have the cocktail. But before, as he comes, let's just give a clap offering to our principals for the job well done. And also the media team, the guys, the IT. Thank you so much for managing this. We are very glad that you provided the space to handle this. Nicholas? Oh, thank you.
Sometimes words do not express the required gratitude, and neither does this foreign language express the same. Please join me. Thank. Can I call now that I have been calling the principal choose my mother, and yet she is coming from the School of Gender. I might not be wrong to say that the principal Cobhams could be academic father. So please join me thank Professor Josephine Ashchiri and Professor Elia Hisari upon concluding this long-awaited workshop. I would also like to thank guests whom we have been having online from the University of Pretoria. In the same vein, I would like to thank all those who managed to present their abstracts, in which we believe that in the continuing deliberations will come up as very good chapters in our book. I wouldn't like to talk much since the workshop is already closed, but to give direction on the next course of action, since we are leaning against our principles and we are climbing on the shoulders of our great scholars in the premier university, Makerere University, and one of the long best universities in Africa, the University of Pretoria. So please, this is the beginning. We shall be coming, we shall be visiting your offices. Do not become tired of us. Me and a group of colleagues headed by Dr. Mushoni. So in case we come, please, this is what we shall be doing. We shall be pushing the project further. At this juncture, I think it is towards 4. We are going to use what we used as our lunch serving place, and we shall have a cocktail. After that, I wish you journey mercies. Thank you.